In ancient times, Lord Gautama Buddha traveled far and wide, sharing the path to enlightenment with his disciples. His teachings touched the hearts of countless individuals, offering them wisdom to navigate the complexities of life. One day, as he rested under a large shady tree on the outskirts of a village, a young man approached him. This young man, dressed in fine clothes and adorned with jewelry, carried an air of wealth, yet his face betrayed his inner turmoil. His brows furrowed and his eyes seemed lost, searching for something he could not find. He bowed respectfully before Buddha and said, "O Lord, I seek your guidance. My life is filled with material wealth and luxury, yet my heart feels empty. I have achieved everything I ever dreamed of, wealth, power, and comfort, but still, peace eludes me. Please, show me the way to true happiness." Buddha, known for his gentle demeanor and profound insight, smiled warmly. "My son," he said, "I will answer your question, but before I do, I have a task for you. Go to the nearby village and bring me a handful of rice from a household that has never experienced sorrow." The young man was puzzled but eager to prove himself. He thought to himself, surely there must be at least one house untouched by sorrow. This task should be simple. With newfound determination, he set off toward the village. The first house he came upon was large and well-maintained, its garden blooming with vibrant flowers. He knocked on the door and a kind-looking elderly woman greeted him. "Good day," the young man said politely. "May I ask you something? Has your household ever faced sorrow or suffering?" The woman's face softened and a shadow of sadness passed over her eyes. "Ah, young man," she replied, "this house has known its share of tears. Years ago, we lost my son in an accident. His absence still pains us deeply." The young man apologized for stirring painful memories and moved on to the next house. There, a middle-aged man welcomed him. "Has your home ever been free from sorrow?" the young man inquired. The man sighed deeply. "We have struggled for years to make ends meet. There were times when we barely had enough food to eat. Sorrow has been a constant companion in our lives. House after house, family after family." The young man asked the same question. Each time he was met with tales of loss, hardship, or pain. Some spoke of losing loved ones, others of financial struggles, and many shared stories of illness or betrayal. As the sun began to set, the young man realized that his search was in vain. Every household he visited had experienced sorrow in one form or another. Exhausted and disheartened, he returned to Buddha, still empty-handed. He bowed before the enlightened teacher and said, "O Lord, I could not fulfill your task. Every home I visited has faced sorrow. I could not find a single house untouched by pain." Buddha's serene expression remained unchanged as he gently said, "And therein lies the truth of life. Sorrow and joy are two sides of the same coin. No one can escape them, no matter how wealthy, powerful, or fortunate they may seem. The mistake many make is seeking happiness outside themselves, in fleeting pleasures or possessions. True happiness cannot be found in these things. It resides within you." The young man looked up, intrigued. "But Lord, if sorrow is inevitable, how can one find peace?" Buddha explained, "True happiness arises not from avoiding sorrow, but from understanding it. When you accept life as it is, with all its ups and downs, you begin to see that suffering is not a punishment but a teacher. It is through suffering that we grow in wisdom, compassion, and strength." He continued, "When you look beyond your own pain and extend kindness to others, something magical happens. Your heart fills with compassion, and the weight of your own troubles lessens. Compassion is the key to dissolving the unrest in your soul." The young man listened intently as Buddha shared a parable. Once, there was a great king who faced a terrible famine in his kingdom. He could have hoarded his wealth, but instead he chose to open his granaries to the people, ensuring no one went hungry. In doing so, he not only saved his people, but also found a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. The king learned that serving others brought him greater joy than any treasure ever could. Inspired, the young man asked, "How can I begin to practice compassion in my own life?" Buddha smiled and said, "Start small. Offer a kind word to someone in distress. Help a stranger in need. Listen without judgment when someone shares their sorrows. Each act of kindness, no matter how small, creates a ripple effect, spreading love and healing not only to others, but also to yourself." The young man felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. He realized that his endless pursuit of material possessions and status had blinded him to the simple yet yet profound joys of life: connection, empathy, and love. Over the following days, the young man began to practice what Buddha had taught him. He visited the sick, helped the poor, and lent a listening ear to those in need. Each act of kindness brought a sense of purpose and joy he had never known before. Years later, he returned to Buddha, a transformed man. His face, once clouded with despair, now radiated peace and contentment. Bowing deeply, he said, "O Lord, your teachings have changed my life. I now understand that true happiness lies not in what we acquire, but in what we give." Buddha nodded, his eyes filled with warmth. "Remember, my son, happiness is not the absence of sorrow, but the presence of love and compassion. When you embrace life with an open heart, you will find that even in the midst of suffering, peace is possible."